The South Australian Treasurer has delivered a consecutive surplus in this year's state budget that came with some surprises. Health and housing were top priorities, but the average South Australian may be disappointed as they'll receive limited cost of living relief.
The Treasurer arriving with a tie of blue in a budget in the black. Surging tax revenue helping deliver a $306 million surplus, which is only expected to continue.
Importantly, surpluses across the forward estimates, making sure that the government still has the capacity to respond to needs in the community in the future.
With extra cash up his sleeve, Treasurer Stephen Mullighan wasn't afraid to spend big, and health was first on the agenda.
We have restored funding levels and then we have significantly boosted them.
As ambulance ramping reaches record highs, the government pours a record $2.5 billion into the state's crippling health system, bringing the government's total spend to $7.1 billion.
An additional 150 beds this year, another 186 beds next year, and more than 600 beds in total. This is a step change in the capacity of our health system, and we are resourcing the health system to have the staff as well to treat more people in our hospitals.
Education reform is the centrepiece. 3-year-olds to enter preschool as of 2026.
There is no better bang for buck that you can get than that of investing in the early years.
Approximately 1/4 of all kids have got some form of developmental delay or difficulty by the time they start school. Well, we are investing the resources not only to get them into preschool, but to provide additional services to identify and target those developmental issues that our children are having in their early years.
The government has invested more than $275 million to increase training places for the jobs of the future, including the builders of the AUKUS submarines.
You know, we've got decades of locked-in work with tens of billions of dollars to our state and thousands of jobs, but we've got to make sure we've got the skills for those jobs.
For those looking to buy a home, it's the younger South Australians who are better off once again. The cap on the stamp duty exemption for first home buyers slashed.
And I think this is an important measure to give first home buyers certainty in our community that when they are looking at buying, whether it's this year, next year or in the future, they will know that they won't have to pay stamp duty.
The average South Australian may be disappointed with today's budget, the government deciding to focus the bulk of their cost of living measures on concession holders, deciding to let the federal government do the heavy lifting.
Now, of course, the Commonwealth is providing broader-based support, both in the form of the stationary tax cuts and also their broad-based energy concession. It's deliberate. It allows us to provide more to those who need it most.
All the spending comes at a price, total government debt reaching $44.2 billion by 2028.
And this budget does absolutely nothing. The continuation of this big spending, overspending in nearly every department is completely unacceptable. We wanted to see more for business, more for South Australians and less debt as well. The debt is astronomical.
And we remain comfortable that this debt is affordable and sustainable for the state.
Monique Van Hayden, Sky News, Adelaide.